By Saruhan Hatipoglu. He's the CEO of the international consulting firm BERI and a CGTN Global Economics Analyst. Saruhan, welcome to the program.
Pleasure to be here.
We are again talking about trade, talking about tariffs. No resolution in sight, no word on any new negotiations. And if there was any chance for negotiation, that seems to be dead for now. Where do we go from this point forward?
Well, the only way is up. That's the good news, because it could not get worse than this. We had to have low-level meetings at least, but this was one of the easier forecasts that we did at BERI. We made at BERI that this meeting was not going to take place, because if you want a certain negotiation to take place and you invite your opponents, if you will, in this case, to the table, and hoping that things are going to get better, but before even they come, you talk about 200 billion tariffs and then 267 billion tariffs. That doesn't send the right message, really. This is like a marriage counselor. You go to the first day and you bring your divorce attorney with you. That's the kind of sentiments that's been sent to the Chinese at this point.
Well, President Trump has previously said trade wars are good and they are easy to win. It sure doesn't sound that way, does it?
He said it a while back ago. I think he regrets it. I don't think he's repeated that, though the policies that he's advocating are showing that he's going to push it. And I think the reason that he's pushing it is because of the midterm elections in November. And the Chinese have acknowledged this too, and they're saying now, not even behind closed doors anymore, they're saying, well, maybe we should wait it out. Maybe we should have the midterm elections take place so that this president, whatever the outcome is, now has nothing to lose and he can sit down and have constructive talks.
You know, all along the administration has said this is really about ending unfair trade practices with China. They insist the U.S. economy will end up better off, and they say what they're doing is actually, Saruhan, creating American jobs. Is there any evidence of that?
Not yet. It's not creating American jobs. And I can look back when this happened again under President Bush, Bush Jr. They applied about 30% tariffs on steel, and they had to take it back after a year because it actually cost more jobs in the United States. So this is obviously by far more serious. We have really a lot of numbers here. And if you recall, when we sat down here, I didn't label it a trade war. At this point, I am labeling this a trade war. And unfortunately, it is going to get worse before it gets better. But there's a good level of optimism here because there's a meeting between the two leaders in November at G20. Hopefully there's going to be something that will come out of that.
And China sells more to U.S. than it buys. So what if it runs out of goods to tax? How else can China really retaliate for U.S. tariffs?
They have a lot of means. They have a currency that if they anytime manipulates it, we've seen it 3 years ago, the stock market took a hit in the United States. Also, there's a services surplus, by the way. We're talking about trade deficit, but there's a services surplus from the Chinese side. So there's already a growing negative sentiment by the Chinese people, and 70% of that services surplus is travel. So if they stop coming here and they stop buying U.S. goods in China, that is going to have an impact. Also, we are seeing substitution taking place. In that, Chinese companies are importing less intermediate goods from the United States and turned into domestic production. So in a way, this trade war is prompting the Chinese manufacturers to strengthen their technology and come up with better products.
I got one more question to ask you. What do you make of these U.S. sanctions against China's military for its purchase of Russian military equipment? It seems the timing couldn't be worse. You've got the trade tensions, trade war, if you will, going on. Now you've got these military tensions with U.S. saying who they're really trying to target is Russia. So how much is this going to damage further the relationship between Washington and Beijing?
That was not a good calculated move, in my opinion. Again, there was some impetuous decision here.
No.
Even though this has been discussed in the White House and by the very close advisors in the White House, the timing of it is suspect. Why did it happen at a time when you're trying to better relations in the trade area? So I don't know the story on that, but it was not a good move. But it was coming. It was going to be coming.
All right. Saruhan Hatipoglu, a pleasure always. Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.